Daniel 7:1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote them the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. Okay, so we have that he saw four winds, right? And let's talk about the four winds first. What does it mean? Okay, and I have Zechariah chapter 2, verse 6, and it says, Flee from the land of the north, said the Lord, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, said the Lord. Okay? So here he's talking about, I spread you abroad as the seven four winds. Where are the winds? Or where is there no winds on this earth?
All over.
It's all over. It's all over. So when he says about the winds, he's talking about the whole world, different directions. Here Zechariah says is the four winds, right? So you're talking about the winds on the north, south, east, and west, the whole earth. Okay, let's look at Daniel 11:4. He says, "His kingdom shall be broken." Uh, Okay, it talks about the okay. Okay, I have to skip that one. Okay, I didn't finish with that one. Okay, look at Mark 13:27. Do you see it? Talking about Christ coming and in the resurrection of the just. He says, Christ coming, gather his elect from the four winds, right? From the uttermost part of the earth, right? So four winds equals to the uttermost part of the earth. The four winds is talking about the whole earth. Um, I'm gonna go in a minute. Let me check something so that I don't miss it. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Okay. See, the other one is kingdom shall be broken. I have it on Daniel. It says over here, and when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken and shall be divided toward the four winds of heaven. See? So it's talking about the same thing. The four winds of heaven. That means the whole world. So the winds is just representing the vision that he saw. He saw it. It involved the whole earth. Uh, but let's see what the great sea. Okay. But look at this. The four winds represent actually all the world, right? But the word strove, right? You say strove. What does that mean? A strove or strive? Isn't there like battles, confrontations, fighting? That's what I understand it is. Okay, upon the great sea, right? Okay, so now let's go to the great sea. Do you see the middle on the right? Great sea? Isaiah 17:12, right? Woe to the multitude of many people which make a noise like the noise of what? Okay, so the people making noise like the noise of the sea. So people equivalent to the seas. Psalm 65:7, which stilleth the noise of the seas, the noise of the waves, and the tumult of the people. So see, the seas means people, uh, many people or multitude. So, okay, Revelation 17:15. the waters where the horse sitteth, or peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Okay, so you have the oceans, the waters is multitude of people. The winds is the world. The striving is the agitation, whatever is going on. In other words, right now, the United. I wish I had a dictionary. Could you say that in the United States right now, could you use that word to strive? And they having difficulties in the United States to strive, to struggle. See, so what he saw is the sea, a multitude of people all over the world in commotion. This is what he saw. So out of there came up this. Just a minute. This four. Okay, okay. That's what happened up to there. Now let's go to. Uh, what I want to show you is that the Bible can interpret itself. The Bible interprets itself. Winds and the Great Sea is interpreted in the Bible what it means. You don't need to go to anyone because the Bible tells you what it's talking about. Okay, we'll see. Now remember, the Bible was written by shepherds, fishermen, and most of them were simple people. The Bible wasn't written by professionals, educated people. Maybe there was one or two, but most people were common people because it was done by the Holy Spirit, right? And I think if you think about it, when you read the Bible, you don't have to be a professional person. You can be anyone, and because it's the Holy Spirit that will guide you to understand, like the Holy Spirit guided the one that wrote it. So anyway, I just wanted you to see the winds and the sea is very simple. That is talking about the world, all over the world, with difficulties and like wars and okay. Now, uh, is there a country today that is symbolized by a lion? Countries here now, countries. There's about 16 countries that use the lion as a symbol. They may not have it in the flag, but they have it in not as a national, um, like in England. I think they have the lion. And Africa, there's a lot of places that have the symbol of a lion. Now, what's the symbol of Russia? Do you know? It's a bear, okay? California, bear too, huh? Okay. The United States, even though his flag is red, white, and blue, right? And the stripes, but the symbol of the United States, what is it in an animal? The bald eagle, right? Even though they don't have it in the flag, because the flag symbolizes another meaning, which are wonderful. But the as a symbol, the United States is still an eagle. It's a bald eagle. Mexico has the golden eagle, and Mexico has it in its flag. Not only that, but it symbolizes more because it has a serpent, right? So, another. What I mean to say that uh, we're going to go to those four beasts that came out of the in the dream, out of the ocean, out of the multitudes, out of the nations came these four beasts, and they're symbolic, symbolized by animals, right? Well, there's nothing. There's not old. They're still new because everybody's using animals as a symbol, right? So it was it's understood that it was normal to have a symbol of an animal for a nation or a country or whatever. Okay? Verse 3, it says, and four great beasts came up from the sea. diverse one from another one. Okay, so here we have four great beasts, right? And he says, these great beasts, which are four kings, right? Okay, so now we know they're beasts, right? A symbol of kings. Okay, so it's talking about four kings which shall arise out of the earth. That winds upon the great sea is interpreted right here. See, these beasts are four kings that shall arise out of the earth. I mean, it's telling you right there, right? The great sea and okay, um, okay, 23. Now it goes. It's talking about the fourth beast now. The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom. Okay. Uh, now, if we just read on verse 17, these beasts are four kings, right? But now on verse 23 says, the four beasts are four kingdoms, right? So it could be interpreted as king, it could be interpreted as kingdom, right? Could you interpret that as a nation? Yeah, you could interpret it as a nation, a country, right? A, but it could be singular, a king or kingdom also. Okay, at the end, you're going to find out that it can be also a man. It can also be a man because a king is a man. But he'll tell you later on. Okay, uh, upon the earth, and shall devour the whole earth. Now listen, the fourth beast. Okay, you're going to have four beasts, but this one is talking about the fourth beast. And it says the fourth beast, which is the last one, shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break in pieces. So for sure, the fourth beast is going to devour the whole earth. Okay, the whole earth. And to devour it doesn't mean that he's going to eat it up, but he's going to have control over it. He can do whatever he wants. It's above the whole earth. And it's going to create a lot of problems. I don't know what it means to say, but and it break it in pieces. Now, maybe he's going to break the world in pieces. Well, you cannot break the world in pieces. How do you break a, how is how is the world broken in pieces? How would you think? Huh? Nations, uh, different sections, isn't it? Because remember, they're kingdoms. So this earth, this four beasts was going to control the whole world. Okay, it's going to be at the end or divided by kingdoms. You have the United States. It has a section in Greenland, Venezuela, Cuba. It has pieces all over the place, right? Okay, so this beast will devour the whole earth and break it in pieces. At the end, it becomes many nations. At the end, okay. So it says the first was like a lion, right, and had eagle's wings, right. Now Ezekiel 17:12. Behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem, okay, and had taken the king thereof and led them with him to Babylon. Okay, so this first, it was a lion, right? And he had eagle wings. Uh, Eagle wings just means velocity. It's faster. It can fly. Of course, the lion doesn't fly, but here in this symbol, it has wings, so it's fast. Ezekiel 17:12. Again, behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem, and had taken the king thereof, and led them with him into Babylon. So Babylon came to Jerusalem to Judea and took the nation of the Israelites. Okay, he took him and took the king of Judea and took them to Babylon. Okay, uh, so that means that they were taken prisoners. Okay, so now the king of Judea is no more a king because the king is the one from Babylon. So then the king from Judea will have to be a prince because he cannot be a king because he's under the ruler of the king of Babylon. Um, okay, now I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. Okay, so here is this lion with wings, right? Which is Babylon. Okay, okay. So, and we know in history that the king was Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, now I beheld and the wings were plucked. Okay, so there's the lion with no more wings, right? So it doesn't have the velocity, right? It cannot go that fast no more because they were plucked. Now, and what happened? That lion, it was lifted up from the earth, right? Okay, so here's the lion with the wings. The wings are cut off, and then it says that he was lifted up from the earth. Maybe that means to stand up. Okay, now and made, oh yeah, and made a stand upon the feet. So the lion stand up now without wings. Stand up, uh, made upon the feet. They're standing up. But then it says as a man, right? Because now the lion is standing up as a man, right? Okay, okay, not as a man. Okay, but it says that in a what? A man's heart was given to it. So now, is he still a lion or is now a man? Now he's a man because he was given him, he is still as a man, but a man's heart was given to him. So if they give him a man's heart, he has to be a man now. And that's what happened to Nebuchadnezzar, if you remember his story. He was given a man's heart. Okay, so let's talk about the heart of a man. Okay, Jeremiah 17:9. The heart, whose heart? A man's heart, is deceitful, right? Above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? In other words, now that king that was symbolized by a lion is telling you about the king now, whoever is the king at that point. Okay, so he's giving a man's heart, but the heart of man is deceitful. Can you say another word for deceitful? You can you say deceive? Doesn't deceitful means to lie? Okay, use the word to lie. So it is simple, deceitful. So the heart of man is deceitful by nature, right? In this case, we're talking about the king of the kingdom of Babylon. He had a heart of a man, but the heart is evil and deceitful. Okay, at that point. Now, Daniel 5:22. Uh, when the Medo Persians came to Babylon and they captured Babylon, the king was name was Belshazzar. Okay, and 5:22 says, "O Belshazzar, has not humbled thine heart, but has lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven." Okay, so who is this? Belshazzar, right? Now, um, he has not humbled his heart, right? He has not humbled his, so he had a deceitful, wicked heart. Okay, um, and thou hast lifted up against the Lord of heaven. Okay, so now the king is Belshazzar. Here comes the Medo Persia and takes them captive. He was killed that night. Okay, now was this man in charge of Babylon? Yes, he was. But he uh, turned against God, and uh, he didn't humble himself. He lifted up his pride because the heart that he had, right? So he was killed, and Babylon was taken away by the Medo Persians there. Now, but let's go back to the first king, which was Nebuchadnezzar. Did he had deceitful, and was he deceitful, and was he a desperate, wicked man? Yes, he was. Did he continue doing that? No, he was repented. He became obedient to God. See, the one who was Babylon taken away from, was it from Nebuchadnezzar or from Belshazzar? Nebuchadnezzar was dead already when Belshazzar was the king. So Nebuchadnezzar is gone. He was the grandfather of Belshazzar. So now Belshazzar is the king, right? And he says that he not humbled his heart, and he lifted himself against the Lord of heaven. He went and used the sacred utensils. Uh-huh. They were sacred, and he started drinking wine with his friends, showing that he was great. Okay, so that man was the one that was in charge of Babylon. So he lost it, right? But Nebuchadnezzar, okay, Nebuchadnezzar. Let's see him. Let's see if we can find something about him. I forgot to put this. Okay, hombre, ¿dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Okay, I think it's here. Chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, listen what it says. And to all the people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multitude unto you. Now listen. I thought it good to show you the signs and wonders that the high God had wrought toward me. And he starts, whole chapter is written by him. Chapter 4, it says, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, unto all the people and nations and languages, okay? I thought it good to show you these signs and wonders. So he's writing this chapter. Daniel didn't write this part. He did. And he's saying all the wonderful things that he did for him. And so he recognized God at the end. Remember, he was sent for I don't know 7 years or something to behave like an animal, right? But when he came back, then he was converted. See, so you're going to see him in heaven. But the kingdom of Babylon still continue after him to his son, and then the grandson is the one that went against God, and God says, "Okay, that's it," and He gave the kingdom to the Medo Persians. Okay, uh, okay. So now Jeremiah 51:37, and Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, and a tarnishment, and a hissing without an inhabitant. Okay, so can we just say, and Babylon shall become without an inhabitant? Just to make it short, okay? Babylon is going to now. How great was Babylon?
Very great.
It was one of the wonders of the world. It's incredibly beautiful, big, enormous. It's tremendous, the greatness of Babylon, the city of Babylon. Okay, now, if the Medo Persians came and took over, killed Belshazzar, they went into the river, got inside, they didn't have to destroy anything, They were even war, and they have all this tremendous, beautiful city that the river goes in between them. The walls are like a freeway. I mean, it's enormous. Okay, now, would the Medo Persia would like to keep that city or not? Would they like to have that city? And it says here, according to God, and Babylon shall become heaps. The word heaps on a dictionary means a bunch of junk, like a bunch of old cars. You can call it a heap. That's what it means, just a pile of nothing. Okay? There's a heaps, montones, a dwelling places for dragons. A dwelling places is just wild animals. That's what it means. Okay? And without an inhabit, there's not going to be not a person living in Babylon. This is what God is telling them. Okay? There's a prophecy that God spoke um, concerning Babylon. That beautiful city was going to be, nobody will ever rebuild it. It will be completely abandoned. And it's not normal to happen like that because it was a beautiful, one of the wonders of the world. But God said, no, it's going to be completely destroyed. Babylon completely destroyed. Incredible. Okay? Now, uh, Jeremiah 50:24. I have laid a snare for thee, O Babylon, because thou hast striven against the Lord. The city of Babylon strove against the Lord. It shall be destroyed utterly. Let nothing be left. That's a prophecy. Okay, again, the same prophecy. Okay, so in Babylon there was going to be no more Babylon. People will not live in that area. It was going to be so completely destroyed and horrible that nobody was going to live there. Yes, the coyotes and foxes and whatever, wild animals. Okay, so that was fulfilled, right? Okay, so there's the end of Babylon at that point. Okay, now if you go to the next page in the book of 1 Peter, in the days of Christ, 1 Peter 5:13, right? Let me read it. 1 Peter 4:13. Come on, you. Okay, Jose, don't do that. Don't do that to me. No, 5:13. Okay, it's First Peter. Okay, don't lose it. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. No, I don't have it. What do I put? 1 Peter 5:13. Maybe second. No, because it doesn't have 5. Okay, my goodness. What happened, Jose? Uh, I want to. Maybe it's 3. Okay, you have your telephone too, George? Look for Babylon on the book of Peter.
First Peter
Oh,
5:13.
oh, yeah? That's what I have marked down too. How come I don't? Okay, yeah, 13:13. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. Okay, it says, Peter is writing this, right? And he says, the church that is at Babylon, right? elected together with you, salute you, right? So does Marcos, my son. Okay. Where is it he writing from, Peter? According to the text, where is he supposed to be writing from? Huh? The church that is at where? At Babylon, right? Elected to the saluted you. The church that is at Babylon salutes you. When he's writing to them, uh, to whoever he's writing to, he's saying, hey, the church here in Babylon salutes you, says hi to you. He's in Babylon. Right? So he's saying that he is a church, the church in Babylon, right? But Babylon was destroyed. Babylon didn't exist. There was no Babylon. There never has been Babylon. So what do you think it is? He is prisoner in Rome. He is at Rome. And he doesn't say, we here at Rome salute you. Because if somebody catches this letter and says, wait a minute, there's a church of Christians in Rome, because he's writing from Rome, right? But if somebody catches the letter and says, oh, they're in Babylon. Well, there's no Babylon. So he would protect where they were at. So why do you think that he's saying the church is that is at Babylon? Let me ask you something. Okay, look at the next verse. Revelation 18:2, okay? And he cried, an angel cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, right? Which Babylon is he talking about here? Huh? But which one? Babylon the great. Okay, is become a habitation of devils, right? And a hold of every foul spirit, a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine and of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Okay. Huh?
I was just telling her the Vatican.
Yeah, well, it's Rome. It's Rome. At that time, it was Rome. See? Originated in Rome. It's the Vatican. There's the center of it. But at that time, it was Rome because it conquered the whole world. And eventually, it became just the Vatican. But before it was all Rome. See? So here, now, so today the Babylon is the Vatican. Okay. Uh, and it's called Babylon now, right? So who was the king of Babylon? The last one that we spoke about as a king from Babylon was Belshazzar, right? And he was against God and disobedient, and God killed him or whatever. Okay, so there's no more Babylon till Peter says, "We in Babylon." He could say, "We in Rome," right? Okay, and he doesn't talk about Babylon no more till you come to the book of Revelation. In the future prophecy, which is actually this time now, Babylon the Great is fallen. Is fallen. Okay, so one is called Babylon the Great. Are they other Babylons? By the word Babylon the Great, are they another or other Babylon?
Sure.
Yeah, because this is the Great, right? Babylon the Great. But so there must be other Babylons. And then you're going to find a text in the Bible says that Babylon, the mother of harlots, right? So Babylon is a harlot because it says here that the kings uh, of the earth have communicated fornication with her, right? So the kings of the earth have committed fornication with Babylon, right? Okay. Um, so why did they commit fornication with? She made the kings communicate. Uh, Now Babylon is representing actually. Uh, in this case, it represents Rome or the Vatican now. But tell me, uh, can Babylon uh, be? Is it completely fornicating with the kings, or is still salvageable? Babylon today and the daughters of Babylon, uh, can they be salvaged, or are they completely given against God?
Traicionaron, traicionaron a Dios, la palabra de Dios.
But are they completely given to evil? Okay, I don't have the text here, but it says, what does it says? What does Christ says? Come out of her, my
Oh, sí, sí.
people, right?
Yeah.
Salir de ella, pueblo mío.
Uh-huh. So Babylon is completely against God, right? But the people don't know that they are. Some do, some most don't. So this last Babylon in these last days, even though the head, which is the Pope, he's the leader, is being used by Satan to guide them in the wrong direction, right? But the people don't know the difference. Maybe some do, but I don't think most of them don't. And they're sincere up to what they are capable. And so God is still calling, come out of her, my people. So as long as God is calling people from Babylon, that means that there's people there that are Christians and they're His, right? Just like in the Seventh Day Adventist Church, are all the Seventh Day Adventists going to be saved?
No.
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 Would this be like the seven churches?
Yeah,
All the seven churches are part of the.
yeah. There always will be seven churches. Of course, at one time it was more completely love, and now it's completely against God, the head. But inside of that Babylon, there's all kinds of people. In the Seventh Day Adventists, there's all kinds of people. There are all people that are really with their first love going forward. Others that incline this way, others incline that way. Uh, there's seven moods in all the churches, even in the Catholic Church. There's probably people that are more dedicated to God than the Seventh Day Adventists, right?
Sure.
So, uh, and sometimes in our life too, we have different ups and downs.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let me see. Okay, but what I wanted you to show you, and I'll show you in a minute, how Babylon has always been there, and there's always been a king or representative or a leader. There's always been a man that that heads Babylon. Satan uses a man in a high position that represents Satan, and I'll show you to you in a minute. Okay, now it says Jeremiah. Okay, here. Okay, remember it says uh, Babylon is become. It wasn't, but it's become a habitation of devils. Okay, a place where the devils live, a hold of every foul spirit. And then he says, a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay? That's what it means. So when we go down to Jeremiah 5:27, it says in Jeremiah, it says, a cage is full of birds equals to a houses full of deceit. That you can read it on Jeremiah 5:27. The Bible tells you this. A cage full of birds means a house of deception, of lies. And that's what Babylon is, a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay? Um, a foul spirit, that's what it's become. So, so Babylon is just full of lies. That's what it means. According to the interpretation of the Bible, Babylon is a place of lies. That's all they have, lies. Now, 723. Thus he said, the fourth beast. Now we're going to go to the fourth beast. We talk about the Babylon. Now we're going to the fourth beast, which was a lion first, shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms and shall devour the whole earth. Remember that the first was a lion, a bear, and a leopard. And the fourth beast, it didn't compare to any living animal. It had parts of different things. So it doesn't exist such an animal. But it was horrible. That's what it says. That it was diverse, but it was horrible. And he'll devour. Okay, 24. And and the 10 horns out of this kingdom or 10 kings. In other words, that Rome was going to have 10 horns out of it. It says, and 10 horns out of this kingdom or 10 kings. Okay, so they Rome, the beast, and out of Rome came 10 horns, which are 10 kings. Okay, okay, there are 10 kings, which are 10 kingdoms. Okay, um, okay, and then there shall arise after. Okay, 10 kings shall arise after them, and okay, what happened? Oh, and another shall arise after those 10. There was going to be another one, which is 11 now. Okay, and shall be diverse from the first. It's going to be different from the 10 kingdoms. Another kingdom is going to come out, but it's different from those kingdoms. Okay? Why? Because we're going to find out that those 10 kingdoms were civilian, they were regular, but the one that came out is different. That's a spiritual. That has nothing to do with just a minute. Okay, shall be diverse from the first. Okay, listen. And he shall subdue 3 kings. The little horns that comes after the 10 is diverse. Okay, and he, the little horn, shall subdue 3 kings. Okay, okay, up to there. Now, so you have 10 kings, right? After the 10 kings, there's another horn, another kingdom, a smaller horn comes out, and it plucks out 3 horns, right? So how many horns are left? 7 from the 10, right? And the one that pluck them out. Okay? Okay. No. Okay. And it says, and talking about, and he will subdue those 3 kings. Okay. And he, the little horn, shall speak great words against the Most High. So the little horn is a kingdom or a king that is going to speak great words against the Most High, which is God. He's going to speak against God and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Who are the saints of the Most High?
The Most High is God.
And who are the saints? The Christians. The Christians, the ones that obey Christ, or God, they are the saints. So this little kingdom was going to speak against God, and it was going to wear out the Christians, the ones that obey God. Okay? And he is going to think of what? To change times and to change laws. Okay, whose laws is he going to try to change? Las de Dios. Yeah. And they, the saints, they or the saints, shall be given unto his hand of the little horn until a times, and a dividing of time. In other words, uh, God was going to let him have control over the saints or the Christians for 3.5 years in prophecy. Okay? Now, we'll figure that out later, the times and a half. Okay, now, Second Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. Okay, for that day shall not come is talking about the second coming of Christ. Okay, let no man deceive you by any means, for the day when Christ comes back is not going to be here, except there come a falling away first. Before Christ comes, there's going to be a falling away. That means that the church was going to back up and apostate. See, because at that time the church was the first love. They were all Christians, but said Christ is not going to come because first the church is going to be changed. You know, it's going to be uh, um, disobedient. You know, little by little. Okay, it says first they're going to be the falling away, and that man of sin be revealed. So here we're talking about a man of sin that is going to be revealed, right? But before that, there has to be a falling away of the church. Now, uh, and that the man of sin revealed, and is called the son of perdition. Okay. Now, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God. In other words, this man of sin, son of perdition, he exalted himself above all that is called God. He's going to be pretending to be more than God, right? Or that is worship. Anything that has to do with worshiping God, he is above that. So that he, as God, seated in the temple of God. In other words, on this earth, there is that man that sits in the temple of God or pretends to be God, okay? Showing himself that he is God, okay? Now, so I think we all know this, that it's already here, and we know who it is. And now he's an American guy, right?
Yeah.
He live in Peru, but he's an American, the first American Pope, okay? So now, but verse 5, look what it says here. Remember ye not that when I was with you and I told you these things? Now, Paul is saying these things, okay? Paul is saying those things that even today is fulfilled. He's telling all these things that were fulfilled at the end, almost before Christ comes, almost. And I said, wait a minute, Paul knew all this. He's telling them that he told them all this. He knew that. So then he said, well, yes, because he spent 3 years talking to Christ. Christ taught him for 3 years. So he gave him all the information of before and in the future. He knew this. He's telling, remember that I told you when I was with you? I told you these things. You know, even to the time that today the Pope claims to be God. And remember, it took three. Oh, I'm going to show you this. That the little horn plucked out 3 kings in order for him to because it says here, just a second, okay? Oh yeah, next. See. And how you know what withhold that he might be revealed in his time, right? You know what withhold. Okay, they're still holding him back. He's telling them here, right? Okay, for the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Okay, so something is in the way that the little horn is not in action yet. Okay, something holds him back. Okay, Mr. Okay, uh, okay, until he be taken out of the way. Someone has to be taken out of the way so that he can act and function. The little horn. Okay, and then shall the wicked be revealed. Listen, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy him with the brightness of his coming. So that man is going to be alive when Christ comes. So Paul knew all this, and he's telling us, but we don't even know. I mean, we can find out now, but he was telling them all these things. He says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and science and lying wonders. Remember, the lying wonders always there. Remember, it's all with lies. Okay, now remember there were 10 kings, 10 horns, 10 kings. Okay, now the little horn came out and he plucked out 3 kings, right? And so those 3 kings are gone. Now he has the power, and he has the power over all the kings. You'll see it in a minute. Now, here are the 10 kings. I mean, that was divided Rome, okay? Alemania, there's Alemania, okay? Right now is Alemania, Germany, German. Um, Franks, that's from French. Burgundians, Vandals, Swaves, Visigoths, Saxons, Ostrogoths, Lombards, and Herulis. Okay, and it has the years that that they were taken, um, that they came about. See, this is when they divided from Rome. They became in 351, 351, 406, 408, 449, 453, 475. Okay, this is the division of the 10 kings that came out of Rome, the 10 horns. Okay, now, but look what it says here at the bottom. The 3 plucked up were the Heruli in Italy, 493. The Vandals in Africa, 533, and the Ostrogoths in Italy, 538, right? These are the ones that were plucked out of these 10, see? But in Italy, it was the Ostrogoths in the year 538, okay? Once these 3 were out, now in Italy, it became Italy, but this is where the little horn was going to uh, establish his kingdom. When he plucked out those 3, then all that became his territory of the Pope, which eventually became the Pope. Okay? Now, remember, it was 538, okay? And you can find a lot of history about it. I didn't want to bring more papers. Okay, now, in 1798, Pope Pius VI was taken captive. 1798, correct? Okay. But the horns that were taken out was in the year 538, correct? Okay. And this is where the Pope started. I'll show it to you later on, but so from 538 to 1798, you have 1,260 years. So that's how long the Pope was
Gobierno, el poder.
was a control of the civilians and the religious people. For all that time, the church or the state and the Catholic Church was one. Okay, okay, okay. Papa Pius taking captive French troops under General Bezier. Okay, so on and so on. Oh, the end of papal temporal rule. He died in captivity in Belarus in 1799, a prisoner of France. So the Pope died as a prisoner in 1799, but he was taken captive in 1798. Okay, now Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So the Pope was taken prisoner in 1798, and there was a deadly wound. Okay, now, so what happened today? Where is that head, that man? Huh? The world wondered after the beast. So today, he was healed. He was taken captive. Okay, now let's see. Now I'm just going to give you another on Daniel. Okay, okay, okay. 11:2. The holy city, symbol of Jerusalem or God's people, shall they tread underfoot 42 months. In other words, for 42 months, the Christians were going to remember persecuted 1,260 years. Okay. Uh, the holy city. Okay. In verse 3, there's a prophecy of 360 days. The two witnesses, God witnesses, were going to be prophesying for 1,260 years in sackcloth because they were being persecuted. Okay. Now, Revelation 12:6. I don't think you have this one there, do you?
Yeah.
You do? Well, Revelation 12:6. In the wilderness, feed her 1,200. The woman is the church in the wilderness, okay? That was fed for 1,260 years because the serpent and the dragon was chasing her. So she had to be hiding and God had to feed her. The holy city was treaded underfoot for 42 months, the same amount of time, and the the two witnesses were in sackcloth for the same time amount. So remember, in 1798, the Pope was taken captive, right? You don't have this one, but on February 11, 29, there's something called the Lateran Treaty. It says the Kingdom of Italy and the Holy See, which is the Vatican, uh, the Pope, total freedom and independence was given to him in 1929. From 1798, the Pope was taken prisoner, he died. And for 131 years, there was no Pope.
130 years.
131 years. The Pope then came back till 1929. From 1798, he was taken prisoner and he died. He had no power. But in 1929, the Treaty of Lateran um, gave back the Vatican and the authority, and they make him independent, and they let him have the Vatican, and he was back in control in 1929. 130 years ago, he recuperated his power, and look where he is now in 131 years. So I just showing you one way. We can go this way and that way, but I just wanted to show you that the Pope uh, had to destroy those three kings in order for him to have a place in Italy and in the surrounding area. And, and those three horns or kingdoms, they're no more. They're gone completely. And this is where the Pope really got the power. And this is what Thessalonian Paul says. They have to get out of the way so he can take the power. And that would come. And it came. So I'm just amazed that Paul knew this thing, you know?
Way before.
Way before. Who would ever think of that? And I just realized that we can find that also now. And that's what he's talking about. In the I mean, Paul to know that. Wow. And you can prove it to yourself.